Social media is up in arms over the 2,000 rand bail given to Mandla Mampintsha Mampumulo. He is accused of physically assaulting his musician girlfriend, Babes Wodumo. Mampumulo has since laid a counter-charge of assault against Babes. The Morning News Today team asked legal expert Ulrich Roux how courts determine a bail amount.
If a person is being accused of whatever crime, if it's murder, assault, fraud, whatever the case, if that person is a person who qualifies to be released on bail, so in other words, he's not presumed to be a flight risk, there is no possibility or reasonable foreseeability that he might commit another crime whilst released on bail, and there's no exceptional circumstances which will bring community up in arms if he is released on bail, then he should qualify for bail. And the amount of bail that is attached to someone's release on bail is not indicative of whether it's a very strong case or whether the charge is a very serious one. It's purely in order to secure a person's return to the courthouse in order to see the finality of the matter. So in this instance, he had handed himself over to the police. He's not a flight risk. He's a well-known member of society. There's no chance of him or reasonable foreseeability that he might abscond and not return to court. So then the amount of 2,000 rand is neither here nor there, to be honest.
What about access to the victim in the case, or even witnesses in other cases? Not witnesses in this one. I suppose everybody was a witness after the video was released as well. Would that play a part as well if she said to them, I don't feel safe that he's out and about walking around?
Well, if she did depose to an affidavit under oath saying that he had threatened her after the incident, he tried to make contact with her, he tried to make contact with the family, whatever the case, then that would have been taken into consideration. To our knowledge, there is no such evidence. You know, the state also did not oppose his release on bail. As I said, he handed himself over to the police. However, if there's now evidence that comes forward after his release that he has tried to influence the investigation, he has tried to make contact or intimidate the complainant or her family or the like, then that could definitely play a big role in his bail possibly being revoked, because the court will see it as an attempt by him to obstruct justice or to try and derail the investigation in order for him not to be found guilty. You know, so that could very well be something that he could find himself in difficulty in future if he does make contact with her. It normally is in instances like this, domestic violence incidents, a condition that he's not allowed to make contact with a complainant or a family, and he would be well advised not to do so.
So I've just been reading, and there have been questions about now, you know, whether he has or hasn't he opened a counter case against her, saying that she also, you know, is abusive towards him. Now, what happens? And you know, most people out there feel that he's lying. This can't be true, but he's just doing it to save face. If he is lying, but he's opened up this case, what are the consequences for him if he's just done this as a tit-for-tat sort of thing?
Well, if it is proven that he has perjured himself, in other words, he's lied under oath, he's deposed to a statement under oath which is false in its entirety, then he could very well face additional charges of perjury to the charges of assault that he's already faced with. Unfortunately, it is a reality in our society that when you have charges of this nature, a domestic relationship, there is violence involved in the relationship, then the one party lays a charge, and just as you say, tit for tat, the other party then lays a counter charge. Each charge must be adjudicated on its own merits. So in other words, if he alleges that she did assault him, he would have to provide the state with the necessary evidence, a J88 medical form, a doctor's report, eyewitnesses, whatever he needs in order to prove that he has in fact been assaulted by her as well. And if he can't, then it must be adjudicated on its merits. And
what does that do to his being out on bail if he's laid a counter charge and painting himself as a victim now? All of that still stands, though.
Yeah, that stands.
It doesn't change all of that.
None of that changes. As I said, the cases, you do have instances where cases are combined. This could possibly be one of those instances. But the charges laid must be adjudicated on their own merit. So if there's merits in the charges laid against him, there's sufficient evidence to prosecute him, he must be prosecuted. Whereas if he does lay the counter charges and there's not sufficient evidence to support those charges, they must be summarily dismissed, and an adverse finding could be made against him should the matter against him go on trial later.
Now, the video we saw of the assault, in your opinion, your expert opinion, that's enough to stand up in court to put him away, to say that he's guilty, to find him guilty?
Yes, so video material is what we regard as real evidence, whereas she will have to testify to the assault having taken place, but definitely the video material could substantiate those allegations. You know, when this incident occurred, a lot of people were saying she won't testify and this has happened before and she's always capitulated on the matter. It does now, however, seem as if she is proceeding and she's willing to proceed with these charges. So the video material will definitely be used to corroborate her evidence and her oral testimony. It obviously needs to stand up against scrutiny. In other words, is it the original video? Has it been tampered with? How was it obtained by the state? Is there reason to believe that whatever is depicted in that video is not what actually happened? And once a magistrate makes a finding on the credibility of that evidence, then it will definitely be used in the trial.
And of course, we've seen the various explanations from him. The first one, he came out immediately saying, oh, it was just an enactment. We were going to use this in a video. It was to create awareness. And then now to go and say she abused me, and that's what happened. So he's already painted himself as a liar, as far as I can see, just as a layman.
I think you will be well advised to rather keep quiet now, stay away from the media, don't make any statements to the media. He can only get himself into trouble at this stage, and I agree with your sentiment. Whatever he said now, he's already placed himself in a difficult position.
Okay.